A single dress just sold for over €500,000. In 2010 and 2011, the man who designed it made anti-Semitic, racist, and anti-Asian remarks that fundamentally changed his career. Now, the Metropolitan Museum of Art is opening a full retrospective of his work, and Zara, the fast fashion giant, just signed him too. Same designer, same year, 3 institutions making 3 very different bets. His name is John Galliano, and every one of them is really answering the same question. If a price tag alone can't create meaning anymore, what can? This isn't a comeback story. It's a business case about how creativity becomes cultural authority, how that authority reinforces economic value, and what happens when it's suddenly distributed at mass scale. The Met has announced John Galliano Horizons, the first major museum exhibition to examine the full breadth of his work. It opens in May 2027. At the same time, Zara has signed Galliano to a 2-year creative partnership, with the first collection landing in September 2026. 2 decisions, made independently. There's no evidence they're part of one coordinated strategy. But put side by side, they expose the problem the entire luxury industry is quietly wrestling with, which is really that the luxury industry isn't running out of product. It's running out of convincing reasons for people to care. So why Galliano? Why now? And what can a museum and a fast fashion retailer actually tell us about where creative value is headed? This is Fashion Business Blueprint, where we look past what fashion makes and break down how creativity turns into brand equity, cash flow, and lasting institutional value. Let's start with a number the industry doesn't love seeing in headlines. Bain projects personal luxury goods sales will grow just 2 to 4% in 2026. And that's under its most likely scenario. That's not a rebound, that's a plateau. Customers are getting more selective. Experiences are competing for the same budget as products. Resale is rewriting what desirable even means. And years of relentless price increases have quietly broken the link between what something costs and what it feels worth, at least in parts of the market. Here's the trap. A company can raise a price overnight. But unless the design, the quality, the experience, or the meaning rises with it, that price increase eventually creates resistance. McKinsey and Business of Fashion surveyed more than 2,000 luxury clients across the US and China and found something worth paying attention to. Emotional connection now ranks ahead of craftsmanship, heritage, and exclusivity as the top driver of brand desirability. Craftsmanship still matters, but it's becoming the minimum requirement, not the reason anyone buys. The real question customers are asking is simpler and harder to answer. Does this brand make me feel something? Does it represent a world I actually want to enter? Is the product distinctive enough to justify what it costs? This is exactly why Galliano has become commercially relevant again. Not because every brand should copy his theatrical aesthetic, but because his career shows what happens when a designer builds more than a collection. He builds meaning. From the couture halo to the museum. Couture doesn't need to drive the largest share of revenue directly. Its job is to strengthen desire, distinction, and pricing power across the wider portfolio. I'll link that full breakdown above if you haven't seen it. A museum extends this halo one level further. The fashion house tells you its work is important. The museum tells you why it matters historically. Through research, preservation, and interpretation, a museum can move a garment beyond the commercial season it was sold in and place it inside a wider cultural history. That is not the same as advertising. Museum recognition carries a different kind of authority, one built on scholarship, historical comparison, and institutional selection. It doesn't automatically make every garment more valuable. It doesn't guarantee higher auction prices, and it doesn't turn fashion into a safe financial investment. But it can renew attention, strengthen provenance, and reshape how collectors, auction houses, brands, and the public understand an archive. The couture halo builds meaning across a brand portfolio. Museum canonization is what helps that meaning survive across time. Why Galliano? Galliano's most important skill was never designing a single dress. It was building a complete world around it. Historical research became a character. The character became a silhouette. The silhouette became a collection. The collection became a performance. And the performance became an image people could still recognize decades later. That sequence isn't just artistic expression, it's a business system. It connects product design, runway presentation, editorial coverage, celebrity dressing, retail storytelling, and eventually the archive. A couture client might buy the actual garment. Millions of other people only ever encounter the image. But that image still shapes how they understand the entire house, from its most exclusive couture down to its most accessible fragrance. This is what recognizable creative authorship does. It gives the product portfolio coherence. The products feel like they belong to the same universe. Campaigns acquire context. Retail spaces become extensions of the story. The archive becomes recognizable. Without authorship, a luxury company can still produce technically excellent products, but it risks becoming a collection of expensive objects with no compelling reason to care about the institution behind them. Galliano represents the opposite condition. His work can be excessive, difficult, and polarizing, but it's rarely anonymous. And in a market crowded with competent luxury products, anonymity is becoming a real commercial weakness. What the Met is really recognizing. Here's what's actually going on display. The Met exhibition covers Galliano's work from his 1984 Central St. Martin's graduation collection through his own label, Givenchy, Christian Dior, and Maison Margiela, culminating in the Spring-Summer 2024 artisanal collection. It includes garments, accessories, sketches, toils, research books, and archival materials. That selection matters. The exhibition isn't presenting only the finished spectacle. It's presenting the intellectual and technical infrastructure behind it, the research, the references, the construction, the moment an idea becomes material, and material becomes emotion. In commercial fashion, audiences usually only encounter the final image. A museum can slow that image down and reveal the system that produced it. That helps explain why some creative work survives after its original season, while other work just disappears into a company archive. The difference was never simply beauty. It's whether the work contains enough distinctive thought, technique, and cultural meaning to be researched and interpreted again. When an archive becomes an economic asset. Here's proof the market didn't wait for the Met's blessing. On January 29, 2026, months before the museum said a word, 95 lots, 126 pieces from Mouna Ayoub's Dior Haute Couture collection went to auction in Paris. The sale generated more than 6.19 million euros, a world record for a haute couture auction. One Galliano painted silk evening gown from Dior's Spring-Summer 2000 collection sold for 510,000 euros before fees. Another gown from the same collection reached 420,000 euros before fees. The timing here matters. That auction happened roughly 6 months before the Met announced the exhibition. The museum didn't create this demand. Collectors were already assigning serious value to the work's rarity, provenance, preservation, and cultural importance. What museum scholarship does is reinforce how that work gets understood. An exhibition establishes chronology. It identifies important collections and techniques. It produces research and publications. It gives museums, collectors, auction houses, and brands a stronger shared language to classify the work. This is exactly why luxury houses can't keep treating their archives as passive storage. A properly documented, intelligently activated archive can support exhibitions, authentication, reissues, editorial storytelling, resale demand, and long-term brand equity. History becomes commercially useful once it's preserved, understood, and connected back to the present. Can difficult creativity produce growth? Fair question. Does difficult avant-garde creativity actually make money, or does it just make headlines? Galliano's decade at Maison Margiela is the closest thing we have to an answer. In 2023, Margiela's parent company, OTB, reported a 23% increase in the house's turnover. Sales in China and Korea rose 72.4%, and the brand opened 24 stores that year. To be fair, these results can't be credited to Galliano alone. Store expansion, management, merchandising, distribution, and regional demand all contributed, and the figures are from 2023, before the January 2024 artisanal show could influence a full financial year. But they still challenge the assumption that experimental creativity and commercial growth have to be opposites. Galliano didn't make Margiela conventional. He worked with its existing codes: deconstruction, anonymity, repurposing, experimentation, and translated them through his own approach to character, emotion, and performance. That distinction matters. Creative renewal works best when a designer understands an institution deeply enough to reinterpret it without erasing it. A runway show alone is just attention. It becomes a commercial system once product, marketing, retail, and distribution are built to convert that attention into revenue. Zara, the test at scale. Now here's the part of this story that should make luxury executives nervous. As you might have guessed, it's Zara. Galliano's 2-year partnership with the retailer begins with its first collection in September 2026. According to Zara, he'll work directly with garments from the company's previous seasons, deconstructing and reconfiguring them into new seasonal expressions. This isn't a conventional one-off capsule. It's a longer experiment in applying Galliano's authorship to Zara's existing archive and distribution system. Zara already has what most designers could never build on their own: global scale. In its 2025 financial year, Zara generated more than 28 billion euros in sales, but annual growth had slowed to approximately 1%. And Inditex has been working to strengthen Zara's design credentials. Scale can distribute a product. It cannot automatically give that product cultural authority. Galliano brings authorship, narrative, and fashion credibility. Zara gives Galliano access to an audience that couture and even conventional luxury could never reach. But this creates a difficult question. Can his authorship survive the translation? Galliano's previous work relied on research, construction, performance, and extreme attention to material and detail. Zara operates through affordability, volume, and industrial distribution. The collaboration tests whether creative meaning can travel when the commercial system around it changes completely. If couture creates the halo and the museum institutionalizes its cultural significance, Zara is testing whether part of that authorship can be distributed at mass scale. The Met is deciding how Galliano's work should be remembered. Zara is testing how widely it can be experienced. One concentrates meaning, the other distributes it. Neither project guarantees commercial success, but together they show that fashion is searching for value beyond the logo itself. The business question that cannot be avoided. There's another form of value at stake here, and it might be the one that matters most. Trust. Galliano's anti-Semitic, racist, and anti-Asian conduct in 2010 and 2011 fundamentally changed his career and public reception. The Met says the exhibition will directly address that conduct alongside his creative accomplishments and examine how artistic achievement should be understood in relation to ethical accountability. That can't be treated as a short disclaimer before the spectacle begins. When a museum canonizes a living designer, it does more than preserve garments. It concentrates attention. It creates legitimacy, and it may influence the cultural and potentially commercial values surrounding that designer's work. The institution assumes real responsibility with that. Can it examine exceptional creative achievement without allowing scholarship to become reputation repair? Will accountability shape the exhibition's complete interpretation or get confined to one isolated section? And who benefits when institutional authority returns a controversial creative figure to the center of cultural attention? These are business questions because reputation is an asset, trust is an asset, institutional credibility is an asset. A designer can generate attention on his own, but attention alone has never created trust. And if accountability is treated superficially, the museum, the retailer, and the archives associated with the designer all carry the same reputational risk. What luxury should learn. So here's where this lands. The Met and Zara occupy opposite ends of the same value system. The museum slows fashion down, studies it, and places it within history. Zara accelerates distribution and introduces it to a mass audience. One is deciding what should be remembered, the other is testing what can be redistributed. Between them sits the central asset, creative authorship. The lesson for luxury isn't to copy Galliano's aesthetic, it's to understand the operating system beneath the spectacle. Price cannot permanently substitute for creative and product value. Couture becomes economically powerful when its meaning travels across the portfolio. Archives become productive assets when they're documented, interpreted, and reactivated. Creative directors create lasting value when product, communication, retail, and experience operate inside one recognizable universe. And governance isn't external to brand equity. It determines whether attention can become durable trust. To be clear, the Met isn't single-handedly bringing John Galliano back. Fashion had already returned his work to the center through Maison Margiela, celebrity visibility, archival collecting, and record auction demand. Zara is about to extend that visibility to a global mass audience. What the Met is doing is different. It's converting that renewed attention into cultural history, which brings us back to luxury's meaning crisis. Luxury can raise a price in a day, but meaning takes decades to build. It depends on creativity, memory, cultural relevance, and trust. The future won't belong only to the houses that can charge the most. It'll belong to the ones that give people a convincing reason to care and a reason to keep trusting them. This is Fashion Business Blueprint. If you haven't seen my analysis of Dior's couture halo and how couture creates pricing power across the wider product portfolio, I'll link it on screen. And if you want the complete John Galliano white paper, full sources, archive analysis, and strategic business conclusions, comment white paper below. Subscribe for more business-focused content on fashion, brands, and the systems that create value, where we look beyond what fashion makes and examine how design becomes brand equity, cash flow, and lasting institutional value.